Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Sayreville Board of Education. Public notice will be read at the start of the open public meeting. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hill, roll call, please.
Mr. Balca?
Here.
Mrs. Bacco? Here. Mrs. Bloom?
Here.
Mr. Callahan?
Here.
Mr. Esposito?
Here.
Mrs. Kenny? Here. Ms. Rubio?
Here.
Mr. Walsh?
Here.
Mr. Syak?
Here. Can I have a motion for executive session, please?
So moved.
By Mrs. Bloom. Do I have a second? By Mrs. Rubio. Would you read the resolution, please?
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Personnel, including but not limited to agenda items, negotiations on the Sayreville Education Association and Teamsters, and attorney-client privilege regarding board member ethics. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Mr. Balca?
Yes.
Mrs. Bacco?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Ms. Rubio?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Syak?
Yes. Okay, the meeting's closed. We will resume at 7:30. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Sayreville Board of Education. And we know why we're all here, but thank you all for your dedication for coming in the middle of summer. Take notice, this public meeting of the Sayreville Board of Ed was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Star Ledger in accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Further in accordance with NJSA 10:4-621, a copy is posted outside the Secretary's office and filed with the Clerk of the Borough of Sayreville. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hill, roll call, please.
Mr. Balca?
Here.
Mrs. Bacco?
Here.
Mrs. Bloom?
Here.
Mr. Callahan?
Here.
Mr. Esposito?
Here.
Mrs. Kenny?
Here.
Ms. Rubio?
Here.
Mr. Walsh?
Here.
Mr. Syak?
He's not
Dramatic, it's
sure.
called a dramatic pause in
I am
entertainment
here.
industry.
Could you summarize executive session for us, please?
Personnel including, the board discussed personnel including but not limited to agenda items, negotiations related to the Sayreville Education Association and the Teamsters, and attorney-client privilege related to board member ethics.
Thank you very much. Our new student council representative will join us in September. We'll move on to our district highlights. Do we have any district highlights?
Not this time.
We do not have any district highlights, given the fact that it's the
Summer
summer.
mode. Let's go.
So we're moving right along to our approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 25th meeting?
So moved.
By Mr. Callahan, I have a second by Mr. Walsh. Are there any comments or corrections on the minutes? Hearing no comments on the minutes, can I have a roll call to approve, please?
Mr. Balca?
Yes on regular, abstain on executive.
Mrs. Bacco?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Ms. Rubio?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Syak?
Yes. Dr. Labby, the floor is yours for your fantastic superintendent's report.
I'm not sure it's fantastic. Hopefully it'll be brief, though. Okay, if I can bring your attention to Vision 2030 Finance and Infrastructure, beginning with number 13. We're asking you to retroactively accept a grant from the Rutgers University, New Jersey Culture and Climate Project. We received some money for the middle school. As you might know, that they did assemblies called Motivation Mondays, and Mr. Glahusky used the grant funding that we received in the amount of $1,450 to pay for those assemblies. Number 14, which can be also found on page 3, once again, we're asking you to approve the application and submission of the 2019-20 Preschool Expansion Aid Program and Budget. That will be submitted by Mr. Nastor and Ms. Burns by August 1st. I have my fingers crossed. Numbers 15 and 21 through 28, which you can find on page 3 in the addendum, we're asking you to approve a resolution to enter into a lease purchase agreement in order to finance technology equipment, school buses, facilities improvements, as well as facilities equipment. And then later on, as you can find in the addendum, numbers 21 through 28, we actually are asking you to approve those purchases. So once again, numbers 15, as well as 21 through 28, those are all related to the lease purchase agreement. 15 is the lease purchase agreement, 21 through 28 are the actual purchases from the lease purchase agreement. Moving along, numbers 29 through 31, we're asking you to approve a motion to reject all bids in response to the Sayreville War Memorial High School baseball field improvements that we received on June 21st, and to negotiate the project with the previous bidders. To that extent now, we're asking you to approve a contract with Jones Turf Management Incorporated for the improvements of the baseball field in the amount of $188,000, my slide is cut off, what is it, 971? 971. And finally, in yet another motion to withdraw the money from maintenance reserve to pay for that. All of that can be found on the addendum. Similarly, we're asking you to approve a motion to reject all bids in response to the Samsel Upper Elementary School parking lots expansion that we received on July 9th, 2019, and to once again negotiate the project with the previous bidders. And to that extent, we're asking you to approve a contract with the James R. Lentile, Ientile, I should say, Incorporated, for the expansion in the amount of $455,875, and also to withdraw that money from capital reserve to pay for it. And then finally, number 32, which can be found in the addendum, we're asking you to declare obsolete and to sell on GovDeals some textbooks and workbooks. Those are the major things on finance and infrastructure. Are there any questions on those items or anything else?
Okay, there appear to be none. Dr. Labby.
Moving along to student achievement, we're asking you to approve the new Foundations of Mathematics 11th through 12th grade curriculum guide. As Dr. Shediak explained to some board members, that is the curriculum guide for the students in our multiple disabilities classrooms here at the high school. Numbers 2 and 3, which can be found on page 7, we're asking you to approve the 2019-2020 district mentor plan, as well as number 3, the professional development plan. We ask you to do that annually. And finally, number 4, we're asking you to approve the marking period, back to school night, and conference calendars for the 2019-20 school year. You can find all of that on pages 7 and 8. Any questions on those or any other items on student achievement?
I just have a question. On the professional development plan, were there any big changes from the previous year?
There were a few minor changes,
Nothing substantial?
Nothing major. It's all on the portal.
It's on the portal.
Any other questions on student achievement? Okay, hearing none. Next.
Moving along to governance, number 1, which can be found on page 8, we're asking you to approve a sidebar agreement between the Sayreville Education Association as well as the Board of Education to include the Information and Technology Systems and Services Engineers into the 2017-2020 collective bargaining agreement. Number 2, we're asking you to approve a settlement agreement that we reached with the Teamsters for grievance 07536, and you can find that on page 8. And finally, number 3, we're asking you to approve several revised job descriptions and 1 new job description. Are there any questions on governance?
Hey, Aaron, on number 1, I'm going to abstain.
Thank you.
And Dr. Labby, on the part-time hallway restroom monitor, the first qualification is high school diploma.
Correct.
I thought we have security guards or / monitors that don't have high school diplomas, but we're making it for the part-timers?
I'm not familiar with anybody in this district does not have a high school diploma. Maybe that's a question that you want to ask me on the side, because I can't talk about specific personnel. But
Is it a requirement in the school,
it's a requirement that I have for all of our employees to have either a high school diploma or an equivalent.
this one doesn't say equivalent, though.
It says high school diploma. Well, we would accept someone that has a general equivalency diploma as well.
is that your concern, that
No,
it
I was
doesn't say
just-
general
I was just,
equivalency?
yeah, I was wondering why this is more strict than the security guard.
So the security one says?
It must, we looked it up once when we were at a,
As far as I know, and this is a point that I tried to make when I came into the district. Prior to coming into the district, there were employees hired that did not have a high school diploma. That has stopped. Anyone that works in the district, you're required to have a high school diploma, or the equivalency of that. So if we're talking about a particular person, that's something that we should do.
why this just job description doesn't say have the GED equivalent type wording as opposed to the other ones.
I don't think you're even allowed to differentiate legally. It means the same
High
thing.
school diploma, the GED is
It
the
means it's a
equivalent
high
to
school
that.
High school,
diploma.
okay.
Look at the next one. The next one says high school diploma or GED required. This one doesn't say GED. I mean, that's just wondering, why is this wording different than the other one? I just happened to catch it now.
It's an innocent thing, I guess, Dan. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we require our employees to have a high school diploma or at least the equivalency of that.
So, I mean, look, to rationalize it, can we just amend C1 to say high school diploma or equivalent?
I can amend that, but I don't want to hold up the
No, we do it-
approval of this job
No,
description,
but
but
I'm
we
saying
can clearly amend that.
We can do that tonight.
put
I mean,
that in
we
the
don't need
minutes,
to
yeah.
go through another reading of it. We can do that.
So I can put slash general equivalency diploma
Like the
as
other
well.
ones have.
Right.
Just
Okay.
be consistent, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Glad we got the
I'm not
bathroom
trying to
monitor.
attack you.
Glad we got the bathroom monitor thing
Well,
I'm just
nailed
trying to
down.
find why there's a
Good
discrepancy.
thing.
The problem
Good
that I
thing we got
have
that
is that
nailed
you made reference to the hiring of someone that did not have that.
I should have just showed it to the other ones.
Yeah, that's where you should have went with it, other than saying that we hired somebody that did not have that, which we can't talk about in public. Correct?
I didn't name names, I just,
It doesn't matter. You made reference to a person that we had hired that did not have that.
Kevin said bring up my
Well, he asked me the question right 30 seconds before we started. I said, bring it up and ask the question. I wasn't sure where you were going with
Let's
it.
move on.
I'm
Okay.
fine
look,
with,
we-
I'm
I
fine
think-
with, I'm
I think
fine
we've got
with
it
making,
resolved.
The horse is
I'm
dead.
fine with making the
The horse is dead.
comparison to the fact that one job description is not, pardon the pun, equivalent to the next. But there's a better way to bring that up.
He told me
All right, the horse is dead. Let's dismount.
He told me that. This is where we are?
Shocker.
I'm
So,
very salty this evening.
It is, let's all quit horsing around. So your recommendation is the job description as amended with the GED equivalent?
Can that be noted in the minutes, Ms. Hill?
Yes.
All right, so that's what the board will be voting on, because that is the superintendent's
Dr.
recommendation.
Aguilis will make that amendment?
Okay, any other questions on personnel?
Yes. I think I also have to abstain on number one, governance, right? But my question about this job description as well that Dan is talking about is, are we talking about hiring one monitor?
We're looking to hire, we mentioned this during the past two meetings, we're looking to hire three.
Three. So I was just thinking, again, that maybe, I'm not sure that this is the right, I don't know. I think that, would it make better sense, instead of hiring somebody to monitor restrooms and hallways, to hire somebody to be in the cafeteria to free up teachers to be in the hallways?
We
Because
did, we budgeted for four
for-
cafeteria aides.
to
At the
free
high
up-
school.
So then teachers would be freed up to
Correct.
have this hallway duty as well.
Well, we want to free up teachers for other things, like our opportunity room at the high school. We want to do a language arts academy, a math academy during lunches. We also have lunch detention, where our kids, instead of going to after-school detention, they are actually able to learn about how to improve their character through different modules and so forth. So I just mentioned four things there that we would have teachers doing during lunchtime. That's why we budgeted for four cafeteria aides. We want three hallway restroom monitors so that we can also free up teachers from those duty positions. But moreover, as I stated during the last two meetings, there's never a time period in which all 5 bathrooms in this school are open during the course of the day. Because the moment that a bathroom is unlocked and unmonitored, there's something going on in that bathroom that is either unhealthy to the children in the bathroom at that moment or unhealthy to the children afterwards in terms of vandalism and so forth. So this is an attempt to have 5 bathrooms for the maximum extent of the school day open at all times in this high school, which, serving as the interim principal for the past 6 months, was one of the major concerns expressed to me by both students as well as parents.
I agree with that. I'm just wondering if having a teacher doing, I know that teachers have duties, and often they're in the cafeteria. So having more people come in to take that over and bring up the teachers. I'm just, in looking at who might come in for this job, I'm thinking that somebody who knows the kids, a teacher out in the hallway saying, hurry along and get where you're going, or come out of the bathroom, or that's unsafe, might be better received from a student than somebody who maybe doesn't have the ability to know the students as well, or hasn't worked with students.
And the problem with that, and that's a good point, and we do have teachers, but we probably have, during the course of periods 1 through 3, as well as period 8, we do have 2 teachers that are in the hallways, basically by a bathroom. But during periods 4, 5, 6, and 7, which are the lunch periods, we need the teachers in the cafeteria, so they can't be doing hall duty. Now, by going ahead and freeing up 4 teachers with the cafeteria aides, now we can have those teachers not monitoring bathrooms, we can have them doing something far more important for us, and that is the opportunity room. Being in the lunch detention room, doing our language arts lab, doing our mathematics lab. That
So-
frees up 4 teachers so that we can provide kids with extra help, extra opportunities to get academic support, as well as social and emotional support. I'd much rather use them for that than sitting by a bathroom. And I think our teachers would much rather do
I
that
agree.
than sitting by a bathroom.
I agree with that. I just don't know how maybe effective, reading the qualifications, I don't know. I mean, I can, somebody with a high school diploma, maybe somebody who comes in at 19 years old, maybe be really great at that job, but I don't know, I don't know. I just was thinking that maybe instead of 3 people doing this, 3 more people in the cafeteria, freeing up people who know children might be better.
And
use of
we
resources.
have paraprofessionals that essentially have the same type of credentials. Or we might have cafeteria aides or parents that are looking to make some extra money, that have adolescent children, that know how to talk to children. But again, these monitors are not going to be imposing discipline. What they're going to do is, at the very most, they're going to report any children that are not following directions, doing what they're supposed to be doing. So they will be given some type of communication device so that they can report to security or report to the main office any children that are not following directions.
Other questions on personnel?
On governance?
Or governance, sorry.
Okay. No questions, just comments. Ms. Hill, number 1, I'm going to be voting no on the sidebar agreement with the engineers because within that sidebar agreement, there's a clause that entitles these engineers a perfect attendance incentive, and there are no other employees in that bargaining unit who has them. And number 3, I'm going to be voting no on C2 and C4, because I don't think those job descriptions were up to par.
Well, I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. We did decide to withdraw those. I'm sorry. So C2 and C4, I apologize for not noting that, but in our Personnel Committee, we did agree to that. So we're asking you to withdraw those. I apologize for not remembering that. I had it right here on my slide, too. So C2 and C4, we are asking you to withdraw.
Apology accepted?
And just for clarification on the grievance settlement, we're not offering the attendance incentive. You have an agreement with Mr. Veers that that is not in place for any SCA employee. We simply replicated the language that was in the existing agreement and only altered the language that was the specific subject of the grievance that was referenced. Correct?
Correct.
Any other questions on governance?
So with dropping those two job descriptions, are we dropping those positions, or are we just
No,
not
just,
changing?
they're existing positions,
We're just not changing?
but there were some things that we talked about in personnel that needed to be changed on those job descriptions.
There'll be a revision coming
so
back
they'll
most
come back
likely
to
at our
us again.
August meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
They're minor revisions, but we agreed to withdraw those just in order to make those minor revisions.
Thank you.
Other questions on governance? Okay, Dr. Labby?
Moving along to Vision 2030 personnel, numbers 4, 11 through 12, and numbers 37 through 38. We're asking you to approve the appointments of new certificated and non-certificated staff for the 2019-20 school year. You can find all of that on pages 10, 12, 13, and the addendum. I do ask that you strike from that Samuel Hartman. So strike Samuel Hartman from that. He has rescinded his offer. So once again, yes, that is on page 12, correct? So Samuel Hartman, you're going to strike. Well, don't physically strike Samuel. Numbers 13 and 14, we're asking you to approve the approval to renew the employment contracts for our Air Force Junior ROTC Commissioned Senior Officer, Colonel Spare, as well as our non-commissioned officer for our aerospace science instructors. Our non-commissioned officers, obviously Master Sergeant Knowlton, and to pay them a stipend for instructing and supervising students during the Air Force Junior ROTC Cadet Leadership Course, which I had the honor and privilege to attend. These kids went to this course for a full week out in the blazing heat. And of course, Colonel Spare and Master Sergeant Knowlton were there for an entire week with them, right at the end of school. So I was there for their graduation, and they had a grand parade. It was amazing. To see what these kids did in a week was truly inspiring, and it's just another feather we can put in our cap with regard to our incredible Air Force Junior ROTC program. Our commendations go out to them as well as Colonel Spare and Master Sergeant Knowlton. To that point, they would like to come in August, if you would allow that, to give a presentation during our August meeting about the cadet leadership program that they participated in.
Absolutely. Anyone opposed to that?
Great, I'll put that in our presentations.
Excellent.
Numbers 18 through 19, we're asking you to approve the fall 2019 and spring 2020 paid and volunteer coaches. You can find that on page 14. Numbers 20 through to 25, as well as 41 through 43, we're asking you to approve certificated and non-certificated staff transfers, including but not limited to some very special people who are here today with their families. I do apologize, Ms. Burns is on vacation, but we're asking you to approve the transfer of Ms. Audrey Burns from supervisor of preschool and elementary special education to director of early childhood. But we do have here with us Ms. April Magistro and her family, her lovely family, and we're asking you to approve her as the new supervisor of elementary instruction to replace Amy Stuber. We had a number of very qualified candidates in district who were very, very impressive. But as we said during our personnel committee meeting, Ms. Magistro just stood out. She is not only an employee here that has been with us for 21 years, she is a bomber. She went to the Wilson Elementary School. She went to the Sayreville Middle School, and then she graduated from Sayreville War Memorial High School, and she has never left us. She is also, which I find incredible, and her mom calls her a decorated teacher because of the fact that she's actually won Teacher of the Year 3 times, or education specialist, but she's also been awarded the Walmart, right? Walmart Teacher of the Year, and just recently you recognized, I'm having a brain cramp, and then you just recognized her as a New Jersey exemplary elementary teacher of the year, along with another teacher in our district. So she is truly incredible. She's highly proficient in the elementary curriculum. She's incredibly competent in her instructional skills as well as her pedagogy. To that effect, she has served not only as a classroom teacher, but she has served as a reading specialist, an academic support instruction interventionist in language arts, as well as mathematics. She is an incredible teacher, and I know that she is going to be an incredible educational leader as our new supervisor of elementary instruction.
Congratulations.
Your daughter's sitting behind you going, did he just talk about my mom? I know. Was he just talking about my mom? We're also asking you to approve another very special person that he too is a bomber. His family, they are a family of bombers. But he's only been with our district formally for 2 years, but in the 2 years that he's been with our district, he has earned the respect and rapport of all of our buildings and ground staff, and our administration, including and particularly myself. He is also very, very knowledgeable, very, very competent, and he has a high level of professional polish that I think is going to make him incredibly successful in this new position of our evening buildings and grounds as well as security supervisor. So we're asking you to also appoint Mr. Lawrence Gates as that new supervisor, and we think that he is going to do a tremendous job for us in that capacity, working with Mr. Coleman'sberger. And I know Mr. Gates is here, as well as Ms. Magistro and their family. So again, we humbly ask that you appoint them. Number 33, please note for number 33, it says we're rescinding this person. We're rescinding the appointment. That particular nurse was appointed recently. You approved that nurse's appointment. So number 33, we're asking you to rescind that appointment. We'll ask that we make that addition to the minutes. We're rescinding the appointment of that person. Okay? And number 48, we're asking you to approve the renewal of employment for our part-time secretaries for the 2019-20 school year. You can also find that on the agenda. Are there any questions for those items or any of the other items on personnel?
Any questions on personnel? I don't know how I could possibly beat what you had just said, but so I'm going to keep this short. Larry and April, congratulations on your new positions. You've certainly both distinguished yourselves in the district, which has led you to the positions that you're about to hold. And I know that you're going to both do a phenomenal job with credentials like what Dr. Labby just shared. I know you're going to be a passionate advocate for elementary ed and have a lot of knowledge and expertise to share. And Larry, I know you as well at the night level will also have that same passion, energy, and level of expertise that is going to help us keep things running smoothly and make the most of everyone that we have here and all of our resources. So thank you. All right, any other questions on the superintendent's report? All right, hearing none, I'll open it up to public participation on agenda items only. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. I don't think there's going to be any opposition from the audience tonight. We should be pretty good. All right, we'll close public at this time, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the superintendent's report.
So moved.
By Mr. Callahan, and second by Mrs. Bloom. Any remarks on the superintendent's report? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Belka?
Okay, on D, page 16, number 22, I'm going to vote no on. D, page 17, number 25, I'm going to vote no on. And D, page 5 on the addendum, number 37, I'm going to vote no. And you have the abstention on C.
Yep.
Yes on all other items.
Mrs. Becca?
Yes, except as noted.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes, I have to abstain on governance number 1 and on personnel number 23.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes, except for the one abstention.
Ms. Rubio?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes, and enthusiastically yes for April and Larry. We keep adding great people here. It's great to see many great people. And that's why I'm so confident that Dr. Labby also will tackle the hard job of filling the bathroom duty jobs as well. I feel he's filled all these other jobs great. I think he'll handle that just well.
I'll do that, yeah. I'll be the interim
Yeah, I think it'll
hallway
work out okay.
restroom monitor. Done.
Yes.
We're going to try for 1 year to keep you just as superintendent, if at all possible.
And Mr. Syak?
Yes.
I mean him, I know he'll fill
All right, that concludes the superintendent's report. It's been approved again. Congratulations to you both. We will now move on to committee reports. If there's any committees which have met that have a report.
I'll give you finance real quick.
Okay.
Dr. Labby touched on a lot of the things, but just a few updates. On the parking lot, I believe it was, hold on, the paving schedule. We were supposed to start the parking lot on the 15th. Did we do that yet?
It's starting tomorrow.
It started tomorrow?
They
Perfect.
waited for the board meeting.
Okay, perfect. So that'll go underway. The Truman and the middle school locker rooms, we're not going to be ready for the September 1st deadline like they thought. It'll be close, but they're just going to be a couple days, a week or so late.
It's just the lockers that are gonna be behind
Right.
schedule, so the locker room will be done by then, it's just the lockers.
So kids
won't
can change and stuff?
They
in the
wouldn't be
locker
able to
room?
change,
Okay,
right.
fine. What else is there? Boop, boop, boop. And we're talking about, just to give you an update, we're taking, I guess, another look at the plans and for the vestibules for the elementary schools. They came in well over budget, and we're gonna take another look and see what we can do with those, make some changes, and try to get them down a little bit. No?
There are houses in Sayreville that cost less than these vestibules.
For one vestibule.
Yeah, for one vestibule, there's houses in Sayreville that cost less.
Everything else, Dr.
We're
Labby touched
gonna
on.
fix that.
We're gonna get those down. We're gonna fix that.
Anything
That's
else?
it? Nope.
All right. Any other reports from committees? Okay, is there any other board business that needs to be discussed?
I have one more question. We used to get a cafeteria report, and then we didn't, and then we did, and it just kept back and forth, and I know there's new management, but we used to get a monthly report that showed how the cafeteria was doing. It was always attached to the financials. I haven't seen it in a while, and I looked to see if there was a year-end one on the portal, and I didn't see one.
Okay, I'll get that out to everybody.
Do you have a year-end number on, like, how much, did they make a profit this year, how much it was, or?
I do have something from the food services director. I don't know if it's in the same format that you're used to, but I'll take a look at it and look at what we did last year.
We-
And
we-
make sure that you have something that's useful.
And we normally present that during the State of the Schools in October.
Right, but we used to get it monthly, and then it stopped, and it came back, and then it used to always be attached to the cafeteria thing, but I thought maybe at least we'd have one for year-end, but I didn't see
Well,
it.
for year end, we're still waiting too. I mean.
Yeah, we're not
you-
totally
You need a
done
couple
yet.
of months before everything filters through. That's why we always waited until the, State of the Schools to provide you with that information.
Yeah,
'cause
but
right
you-
now,
well,
there's still-
but you should have an idea.
I can
if
give you
they're-
a
I mean, if you
preliminary-
get
A rough
the
idea,
monthly,
not
you
a-
should have an idea if they turned a profit, how much it was, and how we're doing.
I can give you that, that's no problem.
Thank you.
Any other items for discussion? Our next board meeting is July 30th, which is only our board retreat. There will be no action taken. If no one objects, since it's a working retreat, we can go with business casual attire. Any opposition to that? I didn't think so.
What, can you define that?
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
A Led Zeppelin t-shirt, could I wear that?
You should wear a jacket and tie. Those who can't handle business casual should wear a jacket and tie. Any other business for discussion?
There's no Boston shirts for sure.
Oh, I can wear my Red Sox shirt, Anthony.
Chris is
Hearing none, we'll
Chris is
open it
wearing
up
a
to
tuxedo
public. Any item concerning the district? All right, hearing none, we'll close public, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Mrs. Bloom. Do I have a
Second.
I haven't seen an 8 o'clock
Mr.
adjournment in a
Walsh, all in
while.
favor?
Hey,
All right,
we can still get to
carried.